right. Welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. This Nola girl checking in. Okay, so thank y'all for hanging out with me earlier today. We were talking about the breaking news with Coach John Harbaugh being fired. I wanted to talk about Coach Prime earlier, so we're going to get to Coach Prime first on this one. But before we get to Coach Prime, I have to share the daily dose of snow. I have to share a little bit of snow. I've been holding on to this little post right here, and this is the perfect opportunity to share it. This is snow. Look at him. Now, snow will be two, I guess, this year as they get back to August, September. So he'll be two, but we watching him grow up, right? We're watching him grow up. He already has his personality, and it's just beginning to blossom. I heard him say he really loves music. I heard Shiloh say that. So I just wanted to share this little daily dose of snow before we get in here talking about Coach Prime. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. If you're just not joining us. All right. So I told y'all I had a photo of Coach Prime that he was back at CU and he met with who you see here on the screen. This is the new athletic director. He went to all of the sports teams and was introducing himself. And this was Monday, I believe. Today, it's Tuesday? This must be yesterday or Sunday. So we were talking about Coach Prime wasn't at the game. It could have been because he had a meet and greet set up. I don't know. But here they are together. And it seems that, Coach Prime is hospitable to people. He's nice or whatever. And, these two may be able to work together nicely. Now, I noticed that the athletic director is a lot younger than the previous athletic director. I noticed that the offensive coordinator is a lot younger than the previous offensive coordinator. So it seems like Colorado is trying to add some fresh perspective, and I'm not mad at that, right? I'm not mad at that. Just like Harbaugh being fired. He had been there 18 years and he was fired with the Ravens, but he's also like the number one candidate that every team is vying for. And then every team that has a black quarterback, a lot of the fan base wants Brian Flores to be the head coach, and Brian Flores is a lot younger as well. So we'll see what happens there. We'll get on to that, but I wanted to get into the portal. So I was looking, I saw where Cam McHale hit the portal since we last talked about CU. Y'all know Omarion, Draylon Miller. I saw Cam McHale. I saw Timmons. Timmons hit the portal. He has a lot of offers coming in. So look like Timmons is going to elevate. Omarion committed to Arizona State. Now, Arizona State's quarterback is in the portal. So I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but Omarion posted he's going to Arizona State. Now, from what I hear, Colorado getting a lot of prospects. See, I'm not hung up on 5 stars. I'm not hung up on that because Coach Prime didn't have that at Jackson State and put together 2 winning seasons. And Travis was only one of the winning seasons. So even before Travis, Coach Prime put together a winning team with no stars, no 5 stars, no 3 stars, no 2 stars. I don't even know if they have the star system over there. So I don't really care about all that. What I do care about is the relationship with CU, that CU continues to treat Coach Prime with respect. Respect is the word of the day. Whether it's a black quarterback in college, a black quarterback in the NFL, or a black head coach in college, or a black head coach in the NFL. Because I felt like we started to see some disrespect towards Coach Prime from the Big 12, and it was a huge turnoff. They ran off a lot of recruits. But you know what? They ain't stopped nothing because the recruiting ranking is starting to increase for Colorado. Of course, it's not going to be where it was in 2023, 2024. I wouldn't even expect that, right? Now, what is different about Coach Prime and what they're doing at CU, they're using a lot of high school players. They say they're building with a foundation with high school players and just going to the portal for depth, which is obviously the reverse of 2023. I mean, how many high school players could you really get in 2023 when it's your first year? You're coming from, 9 Power 5 schools, and you got to get ready quickly in how many days? So Coach Prime's, using the portal made sense for the context that it was in. But the way NIL is now, I don't even think it matters if you use the portal or if you use high school. Building a foundation with high school players that's likely just going to hop into the portal, it's irrelevant. I personally think these players, it's a business for them. They have caught on to the fact that this is a business. I can go to CU, I can go to Georgia, I could go anywhere for year one, for year two, and I can move every year if it's allowed, right? If they want to give me a bag and I'm a 5-star or a 4-star, I'm probably gonna move, right? Now Jordan Seaton is still at CU, and I think because he got a bag, right? And that's what schools have to do. You have to decide who it is you're going to prioritize if you don't have Ohio State money. But what about Ohio State, right? What about it? Did they win? Didn't they just lose somewhere? So, they lost to, I think, was it Miami? Did they lose to Miami? I don't know. They lost to somebody. I think it was Miami. And now their top wide receiver is being courted because the players at Miami want Jeremiah to come over and play with them. And why could it happen? Because even with the most expensive rosters, they just lost to Miami, who don't have the most expensive roster. So it's not really about the money for the school, just doling out cash. Yeah, that seemed to work for Ohio State versus Notre Dame, but it didn't work for, I think, Ohio State versus Miami. So it says that the money for the schools is not necessarily the answer. And I think you're going to find out after this class that going back to high schoolers and calling yourself building a foundation with them, they going to jump ship too. That's just what's going to happen. And there's no way to stop it because it's a business. The way they stop it in NFL is their contracts follow them. So maybe if in college, if you get a NIL contract that's CU, maybe it follow you over to Arizona State. I don't know. Maybe that's how they keep people still. But honestly, I looked at CU. I looked at the rankings. It said that I think in the Big 12, it said that CU is ranked 9 through 13. 9 through 13. So there's 16 schools. So they consider the recruiting for CU to be between the 9th team and the 13th team. So that's not even middle of the pack. Middle of the pack is 8. So, okay, yeah, I'll take the 9, be in the middle of the pack to 13. So we're not last. We're not last. And I was looking at, I'm going to share this with y'all. I was looking at how they viewed the recruiting this year. I thought it was quite interesting. They said they feel like it's what they call a strategic shift. But is it really, right? Is it really a shift away from the portal? I mean, the portal is what you needed to use to build up for 2023. They use the portal for 2024. But again, I think 2024 has to be viewed in the right context. I don't think we can just sit up here and act like the offensive coordinator wasn't throwing games or the defensive coordinator wasn't throwing off the defense. I think we have to be honest about that, right? So here's how I see the strategic shift. I see the strategic shift to high schoolers. And why is that? Because I think Coach Prime is leaving. That's just what I think. Why would I come in, bring in a new offensive coordinator who over there taking pictures with the AD at a basketball game and dictate that he get players who are ready to move on and I might not be here. But if I get high schoolers, right, and I get high schoolers and he works with them and he develops them, if I leave, it's all good. That's why I think the shift is to high schoolers. Another reason I think the shift is toward high schoolers is supply and demand, right? The Big 12 ran off a lot of Colorado's recruits. So, I mean, I got to do what I got to do, all right? If you run off the damn recruits to another school, I got to get them from somewhere. I mean, Colorado had really good commits. And the Big 12 GM said what? I mean, if you can't make it at Georgia and Alabama, don't come to Colorado. So they left. So I have to use high schoolers amongst the ranks. Yes, I'm hearing they got a 4-star here and there, and that's fine. Because Coach Prime can build with whatever's there. And if Coach Prime is not there, I believe Marion will build what is there. Now, this is the question that I have. Why are so many former CU players leaving? That's the question I have. I know why players who only were committed know why they went elsewhere. Because Colorado said they don't have no money. Why Timmons leave? Why Cam McHale? Why Draylon Miller? It seems like the only people that are staying on offense is Julian, JoJo, Farrakhan, and Gibson. Timmons is gone. That shocked me. Timmons is gone. He's getting a lot of offers. I think he had UNLV already, and he's sharing the flag with USF. And so a lot of schools are interested in him. But what I want to know is, considering he didn't just jump ship right away, why would Timmons leave? I would say why would Omarion leave, but I know why Omarion left. I need to hear from y'all. Why so many of the beloved CU players on offense when we have a new offensive coordinator with a proven go-go offense? Why are so many CU offensive players leaving? And I know more defensive players are leaving, and I have attributed that to that is an indictment against Livingston because he still worked there. But why are so many offensive? Why Cam McHale? Why Draylon Miller? Why Timmons? Why are they leaving? So I'm going to be looking in the comments to see what y'all are saying about that because I am curious. I kind of hate to see it. I'm like, man. And I knew why Taufik Bayard left because I think maybe they didn't have the money to pay him, or he felt slighted, like they didn't want to pay him. And he got picked up like that by Texas A&M. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. He's a dog. And I just hate the fact that we didn't prioritize the dog. But then again, who is the defensive coordinator? And I have warned you guys about this year and the defensive coordinator. So Coach Prime had to survive Pat Schumer. Now he has to survive Livingston. So I'm still waiting to hear from y'all on why it is that these offensive guys on CU are leaving, because it's not making any sense to me. Okay, so this is what I was looking at. I'm gonna make myself smaller. Welcome everybody. Okay, it said Colorado's 2026 recruiting class, led by Coach Deion Sanders, started with lower rankings around 90 to 100 nationally compared with the past years. Context. It's that focusing more on high school talent after a less successful portal year in 2025. I don't know. It said, but gained momentum with key December signings like 4-star wide receiver Xavier McDonald and 3-star safety Braylon Edwards. It said improving their Big 12 standings as they blend high school prospects with continued portal activity to build depth through the emphasis in shifting towards player development and impact. I kind of think they really didn't have a choice, right? I feel like they didn't have a choice because the Big 12 ran off a lot of Colorado's recruits. I feel like they didn't have a choice because a lot of the foundational players like, Timmons and Draylon and Bayard, and they all were leaving. London Merritt. I feel like they didn't have a choice. When you see those guys leaving, you think to yourself, well, I ain't going there. So you got to get what you could get. It's just a nice way to say it. So the early rankings, the class started ranked lower, around 95 to 103 nationally, with a core of 3-star recruits and a few 4-stars like DB Preston Ashley and Edge DeMonte Pecco Jr. Pecco Jr. is one of the coach's sons. Now, again, they're talking about only like maybe 1 3-star and a few 4-stars. I don't care about that. Again, Coach Prime, Jackson State. I'm so glad Coach Prime coached at Jackson State before coming to the Power 5. I'm so glad that Shedeur Sanders played at a HBCU and balled out. They both were successful before coming to a Power 5, because since they've been here, they've done nothing but discount them. So they have that legacy to stand on. They have proof of their work to stand on before they got here. So it said other key signees adding significant talent in December, including former Sacramento State wide receiver Xavier McDonald, a 4-star prospect, and a 3-star safety Braylon. So those people really came with whom? The new offensive coordinator, right? A lot of Coach Prime people are gone. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's like Coach Prime is the head coach, but the defensive coordinator doing his own thing, and then you got the new guy, doing what needs to be done and planning for the future. And it just seems like as Coach Prime people leave, it makes you feel like he will leave as well. That's the writing on the wall. That's what I get. Let me know your thoughts. It said the Big 12 position, It said their position rose slightly in the Big 12 rankings from 9 to 13 after early signings, but remained near the bottom because the Big 12 already disrespected the hell out of Colorado. So they not going to basically boost them up or be transparent, right? Even if they do well, they're not going to raise them above 8. It's just not going to happen. And that's another reason why players decided to decommit. Again, maybe when I ask why are CU players leaving, maybe that's it. When the school don't have support from the Big 12, what you going to do? But it's also a shame because of everything that Coach Prime has done to elevate the Big 12 that they would turn on him now. And that's why I kind of am, I take a back seat a little bit. Here's the strategic shift. Sanders acknowledged missing on some of the 2025 portal evaluations, signaling a stronger focus on high school recruiting and development for 2026, though the portal remains crucial. I don't think he will abandon the portal, and I don't think he can afford to, because some of these high school commits going to flip. So, you're going to be stuck if you don't use the portal. Transfer portal focus. The team is actively working in the portal for immediate impact players, bringing in new talent and saying goodbye to some with a need for youth and experience. Youth is key, right? So it's saying it's a different approach than what they're used to and the portal dominance of 2023. But again, context, right? This was the first year. So I don't even think that you can compare with that, right? Success hinges on integrating this new talent and making smart portal moves with new offensive coordinator Brennan Marion, expected to bring a fast-paced system. Now, we know the wide receivers that stayed, JoJo, Farrakhan, Gibson, all have speed. A lot of people talk about, they wonder how, Julian will work out in this system. I don't know. You have to let me know your thoughts. I don't know. But I know one thing. I know he's loyal to the program. He's loyal to Coach Prime. And I just hope that, I don't know who's the backup, because the other one left. What was his name? I forgot his name. Ryan Staub. He hopped in the portal. So who do we have on the quarterback side, right? How is that going to work out? I know we have Julian. Whatever happened to Ponder? Was this his last year? Then there was the other guy, Carlton, or something like that. So I haven't heard much about the quarterbacks. At all. So that's Coach Prime and them basically on the front there at CU. Again, I saw this picture and just wanted to post a bunch of eyes because I don't know how this is going to go, guys. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cheering for the team. I'm still rolling with Coach Prime. I'm going to do that. But CU, yeah, I don't know. Coach Prime got to be careful over there. All right, so let's move on to the business of what the hell is happening. Okay, I told y'all there's like 7 teams who need new coaches. And before Harbaugh was fired, I think everybody wanted to get Brian Flores, right? And it's Brian Flores, yeah, right now, apparently, it might end up in Dallas as the defensive coordinator, which is absolutely insane. But one of the worst predictions ever is on the screen. If you can't see it, I'll tell you about it. Somebody posted this. It said, the Ravens and the Browns have the opportunity to do something special since Stfansky is the head coach of the Ravens and send Harbaugh as the head coach of the Browns. I'm like, no, hard pass. Because this is the same thing. They just swapping quarterbacks to sabotage. No, absolutely not. Now, I will tell you, Harbaugh, everybody want to get him since it was announced he was fired. Some people want Haslam to bring him to Cleveland. But they say they think the team he's going to end up with is where Stfansky was supposed to be going, the New York Giants. So this is why people think the Ravens will get Stfansky. I'm going to tell you right now, I was listening to Lamar's press conference and we were live earlier, and he said something about be legendary. I was like, and he was just talking. I don't, I've never seen these two guys together. I don't even know if they know each other like that. I would think they do though. When he said that, I was like, it wasn't a dog whistle, but it caught my attention. So I was going to ask y'all in a poll, do y'all think that Harbaugh is Stfansky 2.0? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. Yes, 2.0 or no, not Stfansky, or however you want to say it. The reason I say that is because Harbaugh worked tirelessly. He spent all of his time since Lamar been there since 18. He spent all of his time trying to make sure Lamar don't get to the Super Bowl. And Stfansky spent all of his 1 year with Shedeur trying to make sure he don't to QB1. So that's why I asked the question, is Harbaugh just Stfansky 2.0? And when I saw this photo, it made me sick to my stomach. So I don't want to see this. And why? Because I want to see these guys, these black quarterbacks, who all have head coaching vacancies. Whether, and somebody was like, Harbaugh should go to Atlanta. I was like, hard pass. They was like, Harbaugh should come to Tennessee. Hard pass, right? They trying to send Kyler Murray to Minnesota. I don't have no problem with that. Because he's the QB1 and so is Jacoby Brissett, right? So what I'm seeing on the open vacancy market, there's no black candidates except for Brian Flores. Now, I find that very problematic, and it proves why I think Coach Prime needs to be done with CU and come on over here, because they are in desperate need. They only have one solid head coach prospect, and it was Brian Flores. And then Harbaugh came out, and now everybody's like, ooh, we want to get Harbaugh. And I'm like, no. Now, why could Harbaugh work in New York? For the same reason Stfansky could go to New York, because the quarterback is not black. So, it just proves that there's not enough black quarterbacks to go around. And, people joke about how NBA players date the same 5 women. Well, NFL teams rotate the same dusty 5 coaches, right? How about he might win with Jackson Dart, because he probably not going to try to work to hold Jackson Dart back, because Jackson Dart is not black, right? And it's not a coincidence that the other 7 or 6 teams all have black QB1s, and they just disrupting their season. So Stfansky coming to Atlanta, Harbaugh coming to Atlanta is a hard pass. I don't think either one of them would survive in Atlanta, because Atlanta, I had to kind of walk away from their conversation. Atlanta think they know what they want. I even heard, I think somebody on Unc and Ocho say, Terry Fontenot shouldn't have been fired. Look at all the players he brought in, Bijan Robinson and Michael Penix Jr. and all these other players. I said he wasn't supposed to be fired. I said, here is the question. Y'all talking about bringing in a head coach for Michael Penix Jr. This is why I know Atlanta's confused. And if you a Falcons fan, I mean, absolutely no disrespect, but as somebody that's standing right here in the 404 that watches damn near everybody play that got a black quarterback, I'm telling you, y'all don't know what you want. And the reason you don't know who your owner is. See, and that's why Arthur Blank donates all that money to HBCUs, because he got this black city on his side. And they thought it was a good idea to fire Raheem Morris, but they didn't even stop for 5 seconds to ask, why did you fire Terry Fontenot? It's the same reason they let the offensive coordinator get Michael Penix Jr. hurt. They trying to move the black leadership out the way. See, Atlanta don't know what they want. They blinded by all of these HBCU donations. Baby, that's just a tax write-off. That's just a tax write-off. It don't mean a goddamn thing. It does to the schools. I don't know what they do with it, but it does not mean that the ownership of the Falcons is black quarterback friendly. It just doesn't. And that's what the people in Atlanta think the donations equate to. No. Because if so, Michael Penix Jr. would have been protected. Terry Fontenot would still have a job. What the hell did he do? Nothing. Only black GMs have been fired. Now, the Minnesota Vikings have said that they're going to have a conversation, the GM and the head coach, together tomorrow. I don't know what the hell they want to talk about together, but if they get ready to fire the 3rd black GM, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to fire Aaron Glenn. The only people get fired are, people that got black quarterbacks so they can move and disrupt the black quarterback or move the black leadership out the way. Andrew Berry said there's a lot of coaches out there One name that came up is like the defensive coordinator from Seattle. That seems to be somebody Barry threw into the mix. He seemed to be steadfast on getting somebody else and not people in-house. And one of the reasons for that is why I think Myles Garrett. I think you owe it to Myles Garrett, who wanted to leave. And you threw money at him to stay, but not just the money. You told him some things. And he believed in what you said. And Myles Garrett believes in Shedeur. So if you get a head coach, he's going to have to respect Black men as humans, number one, and respect Black quarterbacks as leaders of a team. You can no longer afford to bring in people like Harbaugh and Stfansky to suppress the Black quarterback. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So, with Stfansky and Harbaugh, both vying for the Giants job, is it possible that Stfansky gonna end up at home? I think so. Unless they're gonna send him to Arizona or something like that. Honestly, I think so. That's just kind of what I'm thinking, guys. I don't know if they really gonna give him a real opportunity. I don't know how this little cutie got back on my screen, but there he is. And then I had this of Shedeur, the all-time leader. All right, so I was thinking about Lamar and Shedeur, right? And of course, yes, that's Cam, Jacoby Brissett. But we'll get back to that, right? Because the issue with that would potentially plague Lamar and Shedeur is the same disruption, right? So Shedeur just spent all this time learning whatever the hell Stfansky was trying to do, right? Now, as a quarterback there, he got to go and learn whatever the hell the new person want to do. Same for Lamar. So when the Ravens fired Harbaugh, it is said, now mind you, they be covering for them. It is said that because Harbaugh refused to part ways with his offensive coordinator, who Haslam wants to get over there in Cleveland, which is a hard pass. And I said, so after 18 years, Harbaugh said, I'm leaving because you want to fire my offensive coordinator that keep costing us games. That's bullshit. You know what happened? People didn't like who was on the open market for head coaches. You know why? Because Brian Flores was getting all of the love. The only people that wanted Stfansky were people who probably still want him to be there. You could see the uptick in excitement when Harbaugh was fired. So he could go somewhere else. People were like, I said, you know what? I think somebody has already talked to him and said, hey, do you want to come to New York? Why would Harbaugh do well in New York? Think about it. It's a bigger market. They already got Jackson Dart. They want to turn into their great white hope. Think about it, right? He's not a Black quarterback, so maybe Harbaugh can actually coach. I don't know, because Lamar been over there since I've been watching Lamar. And then he will be competition for the Eagles. Now, they're saying that Prescott's defensive coordinator got fired. And remember, they want to put Brian Flores over there. I think that's the worst thing they could do. Because Brian Flores is already suing the league, saying they rifled racism because they fired him and he was a winning coach. So why would you keep him as a defensive coordinator when you have 7 head coaching positions? It proves his lawsuit is valid. 7 head coaching positions and he's still a defensive coordinator. After you fired him, you made him a defensive coordinator. 7 open positions, 7 Black quarterbacks, and he don't get the job. Now, it was said that they were looking at him in the Browns organization. I don't believe that. I think the only reason they would do that is to placate that lawsuit. And since it's a class action lawsuit, I think he could take the job and the lawsuit would still stay because other coaches are suing, and that's smart. The last thing I would want to see is that lawsuit fall to the wayside or go away because they gave him a job. And I think that's why they're not offering him one, because they know it's class action. And even if he gets the job, the other coaches will still sue. Let me know what your thoughts are about that. So Shedeur has all summer. It seems when you think about it, when the season ended, the last game, you saw Coach Pat Shedeur, attaboy on the back. Shedeur mentioned another coach, how he poured into him. Even Shady McCoy said other coaches liked Shedeur. So I think Shedeur has some indication that he's coming back. Now, Myles Garrett wants Shedeur to own and take ownership of the leadership role, but Shedeur pushed back from that. And I said earlier, it's because look who the hell was on offense. I get it, right? Do y'all think this, us talking, do y'all think Shedeur would say prefer to be traded to Vegas? Because, you know, they want to get rid of Geno Smith. But somebody got to pay him, so he's going to be over there. But I'm asking, do you think, when you think of the 7 teams that are open, you know he's not going to Tennessee. He could go to Arizona, but Jacoby Brissett is over there. Dak not going nowhere. Not yet. Now, if he go to Dallas, like Brian Flores, he going to be taking a demotion, so I wouldn't do that. The Giants, it ain't happening, and it should not happen. Because Joe Schoen has not been fired, and I do believe that will be regrettable by the Giants at some point. And Vegas is the only other club outside of Tampa and Baker Mayfield over there. The Ravens, that ain't gonna happen. I don't know who they're gonna end up with. I haven't heard any suggestions as to who should take the job in Baltimore. Let me know your thoughts there. And Shedeur, should he not ask for a trade, but hope, wish, and pray to be traded? Or should, like Bryce Young, he stick it out? Lamar Jackson, stick it out. Take whatever they give you. Brian Flores, that's who was suggested for the Ravens job. Brian Flores. That's the only person I heard suggested for the Ravens job. So, and here's the one half, you know, what they say, a dozen in one hand and a dozen in the other. Shedeur can't ask for a trade. I don't think that would work at all. I think if they trade him to Vegas, Mendoza goes to Cleveland. But the reason why that wouldn't happen, including Dante Moore, unless they want to devalue him, is because the Manning kid is still coming out next year. So I think they get a veteran in Cleveland. But then Shedeur gotta, like Bryce Young. Look at how many years it has taken Bryce Young to get to where he is. Is the last time the Carolina Panthers were in the playoffs when Cam Newton was there? Look how many years it's taken them to get back. And understand this. The Carolina Panthers could have been back to the playoffs. But like Harbaugh, they were too busy holding back Bryce Young. So what do you think if you're Shedeur? What do you think Shedeur should do? Do you think he should maybe kind of hope to leave and go, I don't know, to Vegas? Or stay, stick it out, be forced to compete again, put behind a veteran? He's a veteran now. Forced to compete with another veteran. I don't know. I kind of think, you know, when I look at Bryce Young, but look at how long it took. How many years is Bryce Young? 2020? So it's taken 5 years. It's taken Bryce Young 5 years of being devalued by the Panthers. They benched him to humiliate him. He won the Heisman. So it's like when you win the Heisman, Lamar, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, they do everything to try to tear you down. And like Shedeur, even when you didn't. So when you come in as a black quarterback and you could throw the ball 60, 70, 80 yards, you know, it just seems like it's going to be hell for you. So I don't know. I kind of worry about him a little bit because I think he'll be fine because I guess he, you know, going on and, you know, hanging out with Shiloh and wrapping up what he got to do in Cleveland. And knowing, you know, Shedeur, he's not worrying about where he's going to end up. But I think it's a shame that they haven't committed to him. And part of the reason, I think that's part of the reason why I think Shedeur should move on. Now, let me tell you the kicker. Baltimore trading Lamar. Firing Harbaugh and trading Lamar. Can you see it? Let me know if you can see it. I'm taking to the comments to see what y'all say. 205 of us. We get ready to have this conversation. Let me see. I asked a lot of questions, so let me see. Good evening, good evening, good evening, chatted family. You on fire about Lamar. Keep it coming. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think one of the reasons things changed in Baltimore is the fans. The fans. I think if the fans felt like I did after the AFC championship that they don't want to win with Lamar, he would have been fired then. Now, why is it that they fired Harbaugh, but probably going to keep Lamar? Did they not have a choice? Did Harbaugh really just force his way out and they just saying they fired him? If he ends up with a more lucrative job, the answer to the question is yes. I think New York. Sometimes I think Stfansky could end up at home or some kind of something else. Maybe they're trying to let him down easy. And other than Brian Flores, I don't even know who the hell should be the head coach. I think maybe whoever can demonstrate that they respect black men as leaders and respect black men as quarterbacks and choose to build around them and have the desire to win. That's who could be the next head coach. That's why people, before Harbaugh got fired, everybody wanted Brian Flores because he's good. And Flores in Cleveland with Barry and Shedeur and Myles Garrett makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But then there's the NFL. Probably still holding Shedeur back, still going to hold Lamar back. That's why I say I don't know what Shedeur should do. I really don't. Let me see. Hey there, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, Lady T, how you doing? It say hit the like button. Yes, please hit the like button. Hit the like button. Happy and grateful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It say, what's up, chat? It said, we woke over here. We are. It says, snow is destined for greatness. Absolutely. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Coach Prime is changing the times. Yeah, I think so. But I still think, because NFL they only have one black, good, solid head coaching candidate. They are really trying to fire Ty Bowles. I'm like, wow. They are really trying to fire him. Somebody was like, oh, so-and-so should be the next head coach. I'm like, they already got a head coach. Yes. They were asking, is it possible Harbaugh decided to move on because the Tampa Bay family people, Glazers, reached out to him? So somebody did. Somebody did. That's what I say. I don't think that, because they could have been fired him. They could have been firing him. It said kids today know their worth. Right. And you can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that. So, I don't think it matters if you get them out the portal. I don't think it matters if you get them out of high school. If you get those kids that come in and they do that work, they're going to increase their value and they're going to move on. And if you don't give them no money, they really going to move on. Right. So I know the Big 12 knew what they were doing when they said Colorado didn't have no money. I knew Colorado knew what they were doing when they were talking about, well, we might not have no money through 2026. So they want to blame Coach Prime's salary on not having NIL. I'm like, didn't that man make $300 million in 1 year just off of TV deals and sold out 3 seasons, but you don't have no damn money? What you do with it? You just start paying that salary with the new contract. It's like they were trying to make him seem like an imposition. And yeah, it's true. I think they want him to quit. So they'll just leave him over there as lame duck and try to control whether or not he can go see his son last football game rather than respect him as the head coach that they supposedly hired him to be. But I think the joke is that we didn't hire you to win. We hired you to bring Travis back because you took Travis from a PWI. Anybody else believe it? Because that's what it was. That's what it was. Jeremiah Smith wasn't a Q. No, he wasn't a quarterback, but he is a wide receiver. And they still want him to come to Miami. Apparently, he's from Miami. Hey, Bridget, how you doing? Big 12 Conference commissioner on that slick stuff. Right, Ramon? That's what I'm like. How is your commissioner and the school that you put on the map kicking you? Same thing with Pat Schumer and Livingston. They wouldn't have had those jobs, I'm assuming, unless somebody else hired them. Right? So it's like everybody turned on him, but they don't want to pay out his buyout money. So they don't want to enrich him because they didn't bring him there for that. Terrell Timmons was one of the few wide receivers that actually could block. Yeah, I saw him. I thought he was pretty good. I don't know. I kind of was sad that he was leaving. What agencies represent these kids that are leaving CU? Several. Linda Merritt was repped up by somebody big. Julian, I think, is repped up by Mulligetta, or they have a relationship. I think Jordan Seaton is repped up by Clutch. Now, I will say this. I think it might be a mistake for Jordan to get the bag and nobody else to get it. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you have to have almost like a distribution of pay system where, the O-line get this much, the quarterback get this much, the wide receivers get this much, the cornerbacks get that much, the kicker get this much. I don't think it's a good idea to say, okay, we're going to put everything on Jordan Seaton and we're going to lose Tawfiq Bayard. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know whose idea that was, but I don't think it's a good idea. Good evening, Roger. How you doing? It says CU just cannot compete against Texas A&M or resources. Same thing with Texas Tech. It said, I think Coach Prime met with the players and suggested they leave for a better opportunity. Since it does give that impression. Tina's right. It does give the impression that Coach Prime has advised Draylon, advised Timmons. I don't know about Omarion. Don't forget DJ McKinney gone too. Is Stoudemire still there? I think Stoudemire might still be there. I do agree with Tina. I do feel like he has let the ones that trust him let that, but the only kicker is Julian and Gibson and JoJo. Unless he talked to them and they decide they gonna band together, because you notice they friends. They came in together, they gonna stay together. That is very possible that he talked to them and they want to stay. Now I know Julian got a little girlfriend up there. I hope they don't let that, impact the decision. But maybe they like the new guy. Maybe they sat down and met him and they like him. I don't know. But I feel Tina's right. Is that Tina that said that? Yeah, I feel Tina's right that, maybe Coach Prime talked to some of these players. It said Justin Eglin is committed. Now, who is that? It said, and it's like the NFL getting the better college recruits. And Coach Prime will start a trend of getting 4 and 5 stars, high school students. If they get some money, look at Travis' brother. I think his brother is committing to Ohio State, right? Or did I miss something? I mean, it was a big, big, big blow. I felt like it said a lot that Travis' brother wanted to go to Ohio State. Somebody else's brother, Will Shepherd brother, Pitt or Penn State, something like that. A lot of the guys that left, LaJonte, his little brother or little cousin, is at a different school. I thought that was an indictment. I really felt like it was. Again, I think they kind of squeezing Coach Prime out. They kind of squeezing him out and controlling him at the same time. Oh, we want you to be here. Like all of that crazy conversation that I shared the other day about those guys talking about Coach Prime shouldn't be at Shedeur's last game, and I don't know if he was. And then I saw him, with this guy like the next day or something like that. And I was like, oh, maybe he had to be there for that. But it's like, we don't want you, but we want to control you at the same time. And another reason why they don't want to pay him a buyout, because I think he could go somewhere else. So just like Shedeur, we're going to keep you here. And this is what gets me about this whole trying to suppress the Sanders NFL legacy. It's another season, bro. You're going to have other people to look out for. Trinidad Shambliss should be making you look at him and forget about Shedeur over here trying to hold him back, because I don't know what you're going to do with him. And Jeremiah will be out pretty soon. Don't know what you're going to do with him. And I've said that from the get-go. Dante Moore could be a sleeper. Don't know what he going to do. And, depends on what team he go to. You worried about the wrong people. Like worrying about Coach Prime, trying to break down his program. That don't make no sense. It's going to be another black coach somewhere. What, you're not going to hire no more black coaches, then you're going to be in a world of legal trouble. So I just think that they too focused on trying to suppress the black quarterback. They too focused on trying to suppress the Sanders family because you're tarnishing your brand. Racism is expensive. And like Haslam running off trying to get the offensive coordinator that sabotaged Lamar. You really want to bring that to Cleveland? After the year you just had with fans not wanting to show up, when do you learn that racism don't pay? I don't care if you go from Stfansky to Stfansky 2.0. People are going to see it. And that's what makes me feel like some of these owners are clueless. And of course, I told you X is technically a red platform if you think about it. And everybody they suggested is dusty and lost somewhere else and got fired from somewhere else. They don't suggest anybody new. But then the only new people they suggest, the offensive coordinator from the Washington Commanders, and they said Jada Daniels was not happy about that. Because here it is, he's injured. I'm like, has he realized that like Michael Penix Jr., they're injured so they could get out the way? Yeah, they know that you're going to come back. That's why he gone. You just got to understand. And one of the things, Lamar, if you see this, Shedeur, if you see this, I need the two of you to start talking. I don't know. Maybe y'all do behind closed scenes. I need a photo op. I need you to scare the shit out of these people. Let them know that they're not dividing y'all and they're not keeping y'all apart and y'all not competing against each other. Shedeur can look at Lamar's journey and see exactly what's on his path. That's why they need to talk. When Lamar said, be legendary, I was like, yes. I hope that means that they talk. But if they don't, that was the opportunity for me to campaign because I didn't see them talk after the game. The Ravens and the Browns, now I would love to see the two of them play each other next year. But I am an advocate that those two in particular, they need to pop out together. They need to show that they will not be divided. They will help each other. And no reporter needs to know what they talked about. Because Lamar does have wisdom to share to Shedeur, just like Deshaun did. And they didn't want that. They didn't want them talking. So that's why I think it's imperative that Lamar and Shedeur get together and talk. I'm going to start tagging them in the same post. Yep. Let me know if you see them. Let me know if you see them. I don't even care if it's on social media and one like the other post. It said, remember while at CU, Shedeur passed for over 500 yards in a Big 12 game. Right. And remember the game he threw for 393 yards was at the Titans game? 4 touchdowns. That's the game he was being held back. There were 2 more opportunities he could have had. When his family said, throw for 500 touchdowns, he said, just win. And that's how we knew that he was like, I just need to focus on winning. And that's also how I knew that he don't tell his family everything. And I heard him say that again, that he need other people to talk to. I'm like, be careful. Be careful. So no new friends. That's what I say. Not right now. He could have easily hit 500 yards. I said it. If Shedeur Sanders, what was it, 393? 393 total or something like that, or 364 passing. Let's take that times 18. I'll give you 350. I'll give you 350 times 18 games as a starter. 6,300 yards. Who else out here putting up 6,300 yards? And he was being held back. So that is how Shedeur elevates the game. That's why they want to do the check down. That's why they want to take the ball out of his hand. Put the decision to tie the Ravens game to the kickers. And what happened at the Ravens game, but the Browns versus the Bills, put that in the field goal unit hand. Then they do the same thing with the Ravens. That's why they need to talk. They in the same situation. They run in the same script. And they both are being exonerated and winning despite the team choosing to lose. I'm telling you, Lamar and Shedeur have an opportunity to do something here over the summer. Shake it up. Don't let them think y'all don't talk. Let them think you talk. Absolutely. The only reason why they asked Shedeur did he want to go to Baltimore is so he could be suppressed behind Lamar, who they were already suppressing. I hope they have a relationship. I got whiplash when I heard him say be legendary. It said the starters that left CU, I believe, are after a bigger bag. It said the second and third string players are leaving for an opportunity to start and play at another school. Okay, Roger. So you think it is money and you think it is an opportunity. Okay. So Terrell Timmons, and he is getting a lot of looks. Terrell Timmons is getting a lot of looks. I don't know what he seemed to be enjoying posting about all the different schools that are wooing him and offering him. But that says a lot that he just been over there in the background at CU, and all of these schools want to get him. All right, here we go, y'all. This is CU. All right, let's look at this. I think this is CU. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, I feel like the Big 12 shot itself in the foot with the way it treated Coach Prime, because fans saw that. It's funny how they flip so fast, right? I'm looking at the all right, let's see. I guess I was looking at the transfer portal, but I mean, if you follow Timmons, you saw it. Y'all heard me say that Shedeur got picked up by a Canadian team. Excellent. And I know he had dreams to go to the NFL, but God gave him a new dream. So I'm glad he didn't give up. Now, do y'all think Shiloh should pursue Canada? I think he's good where he is, but what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think Shiloh should pursue the Canadian football? Let me know. I don't know what's happening to the portal thing. I saw some people in there. I guess I ain't worried about it. Let's see. Keep on with the questions. It said that's how people do that. How people do you? How they doing, Coach Prime? Yeah. It said the portal helps level the playing field in college football. How so, Ramon? It said it's ponder there. That's a good question. Don't know. That's what I wanted to know. Did Sincere Brown leave? Yes, he declared for the draft. Did y'all know Sincere Brown declared for the draft? Let me see who are the quarterbacks at who are the quarterbacks. And I didn't hear anything about any quarterback recruits. And yes, Ryan Staub hopped into the portal. QB recruits at CU. Let's see. I haven't heard anything about a quarterback, and I don't even know if that's good because it said Julian Lewis. They still got Caden Salter name up here. Kavion Bryant. They're pursuing a future talent prospect 2027 in Kavion Bryant. I think that's the kid. That's the kid is that the kid that came to visit and Pat Schumer suppressed Caden's activity, and the dude was like and went ahead and committed to Texas Tech. I think so, y'all. I think so. And they talking about all the money. That's him, y'all. It said Texas Tech security commitment from one of the top quarterbacks in the 2027 cycle, which is who CU was pursuing on Saturday night, with a pledge from a 4-star recruit, Kavion Bryant, number 47 at ESPN Junior 300, a dual threat passer from Palestine, Texas. Bryant is ESPN's number 2 overall quarterback in 2027. And Pat Schumer messed that up. I had a picture of that kid. The look on his face was like, yeah, it ain't going to be here. Now, here's the kicker. Him going over to Texas Tech and being treated like Keelan Russell. Keelan Russell had the red shirt this year because they didn't want to play him. Let's see if Alabama plays him as their starter next year, or if they already devaluing him. Same thing with Kavion, but he still got to go to high school for another year. Again, I don't know who the quarterbacks are at CU. I'd have to look it up. When do they update the roster? Xavier McDonald was a 2028 commit, part of the growing 2026 class. McDonald's another piece of the future quarterback puzzle. He don't come out. It said 2026. Xavier McDonald, is that the kid who went to school with who played he a wide receiver though? Yeah, guys, it's quiet on the quarterback front. It's quiet on the quarterback front. I don't know. I got to go do some looking there. I think just Juju, and I don't know about Ponder. Let's see if if Ponder is gone. If y'all know, let me know. Dominique Ponder is a quarterback at the Colorado Buffaloes. I guess he's still there. He was at Bethune-Cookman with Ed Reed. He transferred to Colorado after Ed Reed left. Mobile, dual threat ability, sharp passer, high football IQ, but he don't really get no opportunity. Maybe he's still over there. Let's see. Maybe he's still over there. That's it. For whatever reason, I clicked on a link and it went to Shedeur. I don't know how that happened, but I was looking at Ponder. I don't know, guys. I guess we'll have to see if Ponder is still over there. It said this is Sir Brown leave. Yes, he declared for the draft. Some slick stuff. Yep. It said Haslam will swing for the fences. I think so. I think so. Now you would think, and maybe that's what he was looking at, but you would think that if Haslam know he want to get the Manning kid, that he would start getting those people in place. So I don't know. That's why I think they're like, we're going to let Andrew Berry do it, because if it doesn't work out, what's going to happen to Andrew Berry? He going to be like Terry Fontenot. What the hell you firing him for? He brought all these good people in. That's what I'm thinking. It said, if Stfansky goes to the Raiders, I really have washed my hands with Brady. Okay, Sharon. So you thinking that Brady would bring Stfansky over there? Okay. I know one thing. He wasn't getting all of the love. Brian Flores was until today when Harbaugh got fired. Stfansky was not. Y'all said yes. A lot of people are saying yes and not sure. Okay, so y'all think Harbaugh is, I asked people, do they believe that Harbaugh is Stfansky 2.0? Say yes or no, not 2.0 or whatever. But Joyce said yes. Sharon said yes. Harbaugh is Stfansky 2.0. Beach said he's not sure. She is not sure. Not sure. Peter said yes. He's even worse. Okay, so do tell. Why do you consider him to be even worse, Peter? Let us know. Let us know. That's very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Lamar with a new head coach, because again, Flores is the only name that came up. It said no because Harbaugh wanted to draft Shedeur. No, he didn't. He did not. There's no way Harbaugh is over there holding back Lamar and I want to get Shedeur. Yes, to suppress him behind Lamar. You really damn think? I promise you, Shedeur probably could have been over there and they probably would have put Cooper Rush in and they didn't give a damn if he won or lost. They only put Huntley in because they don't think he gonna win. No, Harbaugh was not genuinely interested in Shedeur. He was interested in suppressing Shedeur like he does Lamar. Crowley said yes. Wow, a lot of people say yes. I'm definitely gonna drop a poll tonight. Harbaugh is from Cleveland and a Browns fan. And he's still Stfansky 2.0. So, okay. All right. I read that somewhere too, Coach. It said, why did Hollywood Brown leave Lamar for Mahomes? Who is Hollywood Brown? Who is Hollywood Brown? Is that a player? Is that a real name? Or do tell. I'll be looking at the comments. I remember Harbaugh wanted to draft Shedeur. Harbaugh did not want to draft Shedeur. Harbaugh wanted to capture Shedeur and make him a QB behind Cooper Rush at QB3. If you are suppressing Lamar Jackson, you do not respect Shedeur Sanders. What the hell are you suppressing Lamar for? I haven't seen Lamar throw 6,000 yards. I'm just saying. Between the combined, though, yeah. But 393 yards per game, that's kind of crazy. And it's doable. It says some of the players may be leaving because they saw how the NFL disrespected CU during the draft and wanted. That's a good point. Now, I believe that that's why Travis's brother chose Ohio State and never considered CU. Every HBCU gave him an offer, I think, too. Same thing with LeJonte's family. Same thing with Will Shepard's family. That's exactly what I thought. I agree with you on that one. I agree. I read something that said Flores requested an interview with the Browns. What? Oh, he requested an interview with the Browns, or the Browns requested an interview with Flores? Let me look into that. Now, I did hear that he was in consideration, but I don't know. Again, that's an interesting scenario. From Brian Flores to Stfansky, very interesting scenario. Again, that means Andrew Berry's job is to clean up the mess that Stfansky and Haslam made. Just like the Deshaun Watson contract. Let's see. Brian Flores. Request to interview. There's some interview, there's some kind of announcement Minnesota's getting ready to make between their GM and head coach. I'm like, I don't know what the hell going on over there. But they said it's Thursday. I'm like, why you just couldn't say it today? Why you have to tell us that you're gonna come back and tell us something on Thursday? Just tell us. So I don't know what's going on. I feel like somebody about to part ways. Let's see. It said, yes, the Cleveland Browns requested permission to interview Brian Flores multiple times, notably for their defensive coordinator in January of 2023 when he was with the Steelers. I had no idea Brian Flores was with the Steelers. And for their head coach vacancy in late 2018, 2019. Now, let me tell you about that time period. Okay. So understand this now. Okay. Haslam on that stuff. They just fired Hugh Jackson, who Hugh Jackson said he was incentivized to lose. They had Deshaun Kaiser, a black quarterback who was not a first-round QB. That was supposed to be a bridge quarterback because Haslam fired Sashi Brown so he don't get Lamar. Hence 2018. So all of this is happening in 2018, and he going from Hugh Jackson trying to go to Brian Flores, who was also incentivized to lose in Miami. What's going on? I'm firing the black GM so he don't get Lamar. I go and get Andrew Berry, who's a black GM. But he don't look like he can interview no black coaches. But, you know, I don't know. It's just, it feels like with Haslam, it's just all optics. Remember, he was out there with them kids with them 12 jerseys on? And those jerseys were new. It was all optics. It said the Browns have sought him out as a coordinator and a head coach candidate, showing sustained interest in his defensive leadership because they don't want him to be a head coach. In 2019, it was the head coach. He was a Patriots linebackers coach, interviewed for the Browns head coaching position in early 2019 after the departure of Freddie Kitchens. So they went from Hugh Jackson to Freddie Kitchens. I guess they was going to switch him off with Brian Flores. What does it make you think about the Browns? That they keep pursuing black GMs, that they keep pursuing black head coaches, or maybe could. I don't know. But I'm stuck on Stfansky. I don't want to let him go, but I don't want to draft a black quarterback in the first round. It's giving optics because even though the GM is black, we don't have them still calling the shots. Just like Stfansky supposedly gave up the headset, but then he was still calling the shots. Optics. It said Ravens have had a ton of black quarterbacks under Harbaugh. How did they do? And where are they now? It said because of the Rooney Rule, they have to at least interview a person of color. That's true. We do have to remember that. We do have to remember that. And he could have been a Rooney Rule person because that's what he was for the Giants. Yep, you're right about that. We have to keep that in mind. It said just ask Matt Ryan about the ATL. What does that mean? Also, that QB chaos may have been rubbed some of the players the other way. What's that, Sherry? In Baltimore or in Cleveland? The QB chaos. You must be talking about Cleveland. Okay. All right. Let me know. Could be. Aaron Glenn. Yeah. They set him up to fail already. You can see that. Mike McCarthy name is mentioned a lot. Dak Prescott, coach in Dallas. Yeah, I heard that. They asked if Mike McCarthy could be the Titans coach. Pay attention. Who needs a coach? There's only one white quarterback who need a coach. And they got two black quarterbacks over there. New York. Everybody else is black. Remember the number of OC changes Shedeur dealt with in college since Jackson State. Facts. Yeah, that's nothing for him. I totally agree. It said the Browns need to get John Gruden. No, the hell they don't. Okay, why y'all keep inviting racists back into this league? We already trying to get rid of Stfansky and Harbaugh. Take both of them. No, 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 absolutely not. The man got kicked out the league for being racist and I think sexist. No, we good. Turner, I'm shocked that you would say that. I said, thank you, Sharon. Absolutely not. Like, why do y'all keep wanting to bring people into the league to make the black quarterback lives harder, to make the black players' life harder who don't respect black people? This is not where you should be if you don't respect black people. It don't work like that. Just like you shouldn't be in Atlanta. Like, if you don't like black people, just don't come to Atlanta. Because you probably going to have a meltdown in the street. No. That's like you talk about bringing Stfansky or Harbaugh to Atlanta. I said they're going to burn it down because Michael Penix Jr. is the quarterback. Neither of them respect Lamar or Shedeur. Why would they respect Michael Penix Jr.? Get the hell out of here. No. And I actually appreciate the fact that Andrew Berry said, no, there's a lot of coaches out there. Thank you, Jesus. They asked him about somebody in-house. He said, there's a lot of coaches out there. Like, no, like, I actually like that he said that. I wonder if he's going to talk to Myles Garrett about the coach. Oh, they said the Tennessee Titans gave Cam Ward, they guaranteed him input into who the next coach will be. I'm just saying that's what happened with that was supposed to be the deal down in Houston with Deshaun Watson. And they ain't do it. And he asked for a trade, and the rest is history. And he's $230 million richer, fully guaranteed. That's how you know they got busted. Everybody want to talk about Stfansky not wanting Deshaun Watson to be the quarterback. Everybody want to talk about Stfansky not wanting Shedeur to be the quarterback. Then go get another job, Stfansky. Go work somewhere else where there's no black quarterbacks. Go to New York, but there's 2 black quarterbacks over there. So all he gonna do is go somewhere and expose himself, because if they not the starter, they own the roster. And as we know, people get hurt. I think it's ridiculous to sit up and say with your chest stuck out, well, Stfansky didn't want Deshaun. That don't have shit to do with Stfansky dehumanizing Shadeur Sanders. What they don't want to say is Stfansky was exhibiting racist behavior. Point blank, period. And John Harbaugh worked all his time with Lamar to make sure Lamar don't get to the Super Bowl. Point blank, period. So Harbaugh and Stfansky need to go work for New York. And the 2 black quarterbacks they got over there need to be dispersed elsewhere. They need to work for one of these teams that have 0 black quarterbacks on the roster. And if I don't respect black quarterbacks as leaders, how do I feel about black players? What do I think of you if I don't think you are a leader? Harbaugh and Stfansky need to be banned from the NFL for trying to suppress black quarterbacks. Point blank, period. As an NFL fan that wants to watch exciting football, they showed kids. One kid was crying after the game. He was cute. And the video his parents filmed him, he had on the Lamar jersey. He held up the watch like Shedeur. I say, oh, that's so cute. Again, Shedeur Lamar. And after the end of the game, he was just crying. What a letdown. And it was planned. It was planned. The Ravens didn't give a damn about letting their own fan base down. And neither did the Browns. Shedeur had the Browns in playoff contention, and Stfansky did just like Harbaugh. Made sure their teams exited the playoffs with Shedeur and Lamar as the quarterbacks. And y'all think they need another job. They need to be fired and banned from the league because they clearly have no respect for black quarterbacks as leaders. And I'm not sure if they respect them as men. Class action lawsuits just don't go away without a settlement. That's what I'm thinking. You talking about the one with Flores? It said Raiders aren't a good franchise to play for. So BTC boy said the Raiders not a good franchise to play for. They ran off Antonio Pierce. I don't know why. I think because so he don't draft Shedeur. Yeah, that's what it was. They ran off Antonio Pierce, so he don't draft Shedeur. Then they got Pete Carroll, who I knew that wasn't gonna work out. Now they want to move off of him. I don't know who they're gonna end up with. Geno Smith is owed $66 million fully guaranteed. He will be there. Just like Kirk Cousins is still in Atlanta because they owe him $100 million guaranteed. He gonna be around somewhere. Now I don't know if they're gonna make him QB2 or not, but he gonna be around somewhere. It's gonna be time to talk Lamar contract extension, another 5 years. They don't even want to do that. That's why this year was like it was. So they could say he wasn't good. But Lamar won when the Ravens chose to lose. Just like Shedeur, they wanted to devalue him, but they couldn't. That game-winning drive has gone viral. The NFL itself put out Shedeur's highlights, which makes him look like a star. I'm like, does the media team not talk to the front offices? Like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. When do they have to decide on the coach? Does anybody know they have how much time? Because the Shrine Bowl coming up, did y'all know Diego Pavia won the Johnny Unitas Award? And he going back to school? Sure did. So Shedeur won last year. Diego Pavia won this year. Hey, Tamika, everyone, preach my favorite podcast. How you doing? I believe Shedeur got familiar with Fan and Junkins, Isaiah Bonds. Yeah, I think so too. I don't know what side Isaiah Bonds' bread is buttered on though. The jury's still out on him for me because I know why he was brought there. It said Giants on some slick stuff too. Always. They're not gonna be happy till they exposed from the inside out. It said, I believe that Shedeur has a good rookie class that he works excellent with in Cleveland. Okay, so you think he should stay. And that is a plus. So Shedeur should stay in Cleveland because it is true. They do have the number 2 defense. Andrew Berry did put together a great rookie class, assembled a great defense. Myles Garrett does believe in Shedeur. Myles Garrett is the leader of the team, has encouraged Shedeur to take ownership of that leader role. So now they got all summer to come around. And if you saw the video of Shedeur when is it Andre Smith, the guy, the kicker? Andre, when he was preparing to kick, Shedeur was coaching him, like, telling everybody he gonna make it. He been working on this. They doubted him, and he knows that they doubted him, so he gonna make it. And he made it. And Shedeur was like, I told you. That's the difference between Baltimore and that's the difference between the Ravens. Now, here's the crazy part, right? I heard Lamar say they worked on that, the 55-second drill. They worked on that over and over and over. And you know what he said? He said he a rookie, so never mind. Let's leave it in the past. That's exactly what he said. He's a rookie. Never mind. Let's just leave it in the past. And that's what they have to do. They can't ask for accountability, right? And I think that's a leadership quality. Like, I mean, I could make a big deal out of it, but I'm not, right? Because, I mean, how many times have they been there? How many times have they been at that point where he has to just shrug his shoulders and say, oh, well, I tried? I mean, maybe that's the healthiest position for him to have, right? But truth be told, he said they practiced that. He said they worked on that. So a lot of people really felt bad for Lamar. People say they cried for Lamar. They felt like the team just keep trying to let him down. And it's true. So to me, that's why Harbaugh got fired. People saying he didn't want to part ways with his offensive coordinator. I don't think that that's the case. So it's like they was trying to say the Ravens wanted to fire the offensive coordinator, but not him. That's possible. That's possible. I could see that. But really, he's the one that needed to be fired. And he probably let people know in the industry. And what agency represent him? Is it the same one that represent everybody else? And they quickly started talking. Oh, you could go here. You could go here. You could go here. Because there's 7 vacancies. Shedeur should have the mindset, what's in it for me? Interesting. That it, and maybe he does. And that's why Shedeur's mindset pushed back on the leadership. He pushed back that leadership label. He said, no, I can only focus on myself. They were trying to pin him down to say he's the next leader. I don't know if he don't want to get his hopes up and they're going to screw him over again because Andrew Berry is non-committal. So is Haslam. And that's shameful, right? It's like, oh, we don't want you. We don't value you. So we don't want to give you peace of mind to celebrate, get yourself ready and show that we're committed to you. I think that's disgusting. He's been the best there the whole time, and they still won't commit even after all of this. And they're saying they're firing Stfansky because he didn't improve in areas that were controllable. Well, y'all not doing no better in areas that were controllable. You have your QB1, which means you can go to the draft and focus on something else because Dylan over there. So you have a QB4. I put Shedeur, Deshaun, or somebody. And because I don't think they're gonna let Deshaun play because it's gonna prove Haslam lied. Hell, I think Bailey Zapp got to be better than Dylan. Ain't no way Dylan is better than Bailey Zapp. It's just no way. So they said he was fired because he didn't improve on areas that were controllable, but Barry did. Barry did. And it's funny how they just seem content to let the whole season go to hell. I think that's why Stfansky is getting interviews in other places. Yeah, hopefully not Tennessee, because if Stfansky end up in Tennessee as a head coach, oh Lord, have mercy. They must think they need to tame Cam because that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. And if Cam approve Stfansky, Lord bless him. It said, would love Brian Flores with the Ravens. That's who the defense needs. Oh, y'all know they was talking about firing Zach Orr. I said, I told you. I said what I say when we were watching the Ravens and we saw how the defense was prejudicial and they coddled Dylan, but they went in and tried to knock Shadeur's head off. I said, watch they fire Zachary Orr. His name has come up. This is what they're saying. Well, the new coach is probably going to want to get his own staff. So that means Zachary Orr. I was like, what? That's why you don't do their bidding. Ty Bowles, don't do their bidding. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Remember when Coach Prime went to visit Ty Bowles and he was kind of like, in his interviews, like non-committal. And, I just see a father coming to meet his son. It ain't no big deal. I'm like, and then they didn't care. They didn't care. They did not care. It said the Raiders have a black female president. Yes, they do. Now, I thought during the season, Antonio Pierce's last season, I was of the belief that Devontae Adams, Carr, was it Derek Carr? They all wanted out because they didn't want a female president. That's what I thought. I really did. Because I remember I was watching them. I remember the conversation that they were making business decisions, but I felt like they set up Pierce to get fired, but that really was about the draft. Because remember Coach Prime, see, they afraid that every black GM, every black head coach is going to be a Mike Tomlin and they're going to get all the black quarterbacks. And they're afraid that every black GM is going to be like Ozzie Newsome and they're going to save a black quarterback, which is why some people in our comment community said they think Andrew Berry is non-committal on Shedeur. That's a good point. What do y'all think? He playing the game. Did he go to Shedeur and say, hey, look, I gotta be a little standoffish because Stfansky is gone. Now I think Myles Garrett might be happy for that too. And the owner wants the other guy. So don't make too much hoopla about Shedeur, but we need a bridge quarterback. And we can't let him go for $1 million because he could go somewhere else and that ain't gonna work out for us. So they kind of gotta keep Shedeur. Unless they're gonna trade him for like Joe Milton or somebody. So, and one of the things I think they did to Coach Prime in the draft, in addition to making people believe he has no influence in the NFL, is they shut down the influence he had to get Shedeur elsewhere this year. Jerry Jones not still talking to Coach Prime? Because that's crazy, right? They don't want Jerry Jones and Coach Prime being friends, so everybody's standing against Coach Prime, so Coach Prime don't call up a favor, like when you heard him tell Antonio Pierce, can you draft my sons? Because they felt like Antonio Pierce would do it. And honestly, people thought that they would, but they fired him. So they made people believe Coach Prime has no influence over here. So ain't no point in you going to Colorado. And it's not going to help Shadeur. And that's could be why a lot of people moved on, because a lot of people felt like players in 23 and 24 came so they could get drafted. That's the reason they go to Alabama, to get drafted. They didn't want Colorado to be that program. And apparently neither did the Big 12. Neither did the Big 12. And that's why I say, you know what, I'm sick of CU. They need more black head coaches. I say Coach Prime need to throw his name in the hat as a head coach in NFL. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. And remember, there was a rumor that he could possibly end up the head coach of Jaguars, and that's where Shedeur could have been traded to, because Trevor Lawrence would be on the way out in 2029, and Coach Prime's contract would have ended in 2029. But they have disrupted all of that. People said they believe Shedeur was going to be 4 years in and out. That's it. That's before 20 million people showed up. But that was the plan. That was the plan. Sure was. It said Browns are the best team for Shedeur. They can win in a division next season. I would like to see it. I would definitely like to see Shedeur and Lamar play each other, right? What's the other team? The Steelers? Who you think they're going to have next year? Who y'all, they going to, Lincoln Riley? Y'all think they're going to elevate him? Is that who he played for? Steelers depth chart? Because I think Mike Tomlin going to be there, but they can still play him and fire him, even if he don't make it to the Super Bowl. And y'all know Mike Tomlin been to 2 Super Bowls, right? Stfansky ain't been nowhere, and he failing up. Stfansky's failing up. That's what that's called. So the quarterback is Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, not Lincoln Riley, and Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson is on injured reserve. Who is that? I don't know who Skylar is, but he's on injured reserve. He went to Kansas State. I never heard of him. What about that kid at Kansas State? Is he coming out? Avery Johnson? Or is he going back to school? I was shocked that Kansas State wasn't good this year. I was really shocked by that. Then I remembered they found out he was black, because I had no idea. I was like, God darn, when his family got into an altercation, that was when people found out that kid was black. They didn't know, because I didn't either. And I think I'm pretty goddamn good with that. But I was like, they talking about, you know, the quarterback for Kansas State is black. I'm like, who? I'm thinking about Kansas, because there's a black quarterback over there too. I don't know if he's coming out. Avery Johnson. Remember he was doing the Coach Prime into the end zone? I had no idea he was black, but he is. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I guess I'm going to have to see. It says 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. That's it. 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. It said Browns may send Deshaun to ATL for Kirk Cousins. Oh, Lord Jesus. Well, let's talk about that. Deshaun is owed $46 million. And Kirk Cousins, not so much. But somebody got to pay him that $100 million guarantee. And I'm sure, let me see how much is left on Kirk Cousins' contract. See, the owner of the Falcons got Kirk Cousins to block the GM from drafting Michael Penix Jr. Let's see. Kirk Cousins' contract. 2026, his base salary was reduced. So he restructured from $35 million to $2.1 million. His 2027 compensation then gained that $32 million difference, creating a $67 million vesting guarantee for the 2027 season that would lock in on March 13th, the third day of the 2026 NFL league year. So they restructured his contract, his 2026 salary. He's only going to make the 2.1 and they just put it on the back end. And he's going to get the money in 2027. Now you tell me that it made sense to do that. You know how old Kirk Cousins is? People already know Michael Penix Jr. is the starter next year. What sense did it make for the owner to do that? Did you just want to gift him money that he didn't need? You're not going to tell me the owner respects or values Michael Penix Jr. Because in March around the 11th is when he got that ungodly contract. And that was the same time that Andrew Berry traded for Kenny Pickett. But it wasn't for that kind of money. I think if I'm not mistaken, they sent Dorian Thompson-Robinson to Philly and they demoted him from a QB2 to a QB3 or a QB3 and kept him as a 3 and pushed him out the league, which is what they wanted to do to Shedeur because he was 5th round pick. But it didn't work out like that. Instead, Stfansky, the nemesis, got fired. So Andrew Berry made a deal. And when you look at all of Andrew Berry's deal, he's really good at devaluing these players. I just hate to say it, but the math part of it. So ain't no way in the hell he gave Deshaun that contract. There's a lot of other reasons why he didn't give Deshaun that contract. For one, he probably never would have given Deshaun that contract. He devalued Isaiah Bond, Harold Fanning Jr., Quinshawn Junkins, Dylan Sampson. The whole running back room is stacked. The whole running back room salary is probably cheaper than Kirk Cousins' signing bonus. I bet it is. That's why the owner likes Andrew Berry, because he gets these black guys for cheap. Understand this. They drafted who first? Mason Graham. He's white. They drafted second. Fully guaranteed contract. Second round. Carson Swessinger. He's white. Everybody else, black, got devalued. Including Shedeur, who they were going to pay $40 million to. And they still non-committal. That's why Andrew Berry still worked there. Because he is going along with, and that's why I told people that said, oh, you should get Cornell Tate. I'm like, they already gave Jerry Jeudy $41 million fully guaranteed. And look at what he got to do for it. Cornell Tate coming out of Ohio State probably not going to do that. Jerry Jeudy failed in Denver. So they had leverage on him anyway. But they gave him that contract. But it was $28 million guaranteed. It has somehow jumped up to 41 in 1 year. That needs to be looked into. And what they going to do with him? They can't trade him. And the fact that Haslam is trying to get the guy that sabotaged Lamar to come to Cleveland, and you have no choice but to keep Jeudy, they just going to run it back next year. And yes, Flores must be the Rooney Rule interview. That's what that must be. It said, would love to see Lamar make it to a Super Bowl. He going to have to be playing for somebody else. I totally agree. It said trading Lamar to where and for what in return? Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't know. I don't know. I think Baltimore would throw a fit. I think Baltimore would actually throw a fit because they clearly wanted some type of consequence for that loss. And it sounds like the Ravens were willing to part ways with the offensive coordinator, but maybe Harbaugh was not. So him and his coordinator going to split up now. Like, that don't make no sense. How is it that you didn't want to part ways with the offensive coordinator, but you fired, and I'm assuming he fired, and y'all finna work separate places, or y'all going together as a package? It better be to New York where there's no black quarterback. Because if it's Cleveland, they just going to run this shit back. And you know what? We going to run it back too. See, they think they could do what they want to do. And I would think Haslam have realized that you cannot. But I think he think the fans are stupid. because going after Stfansky 2.0 is just gonna blow this up even wider. And he gonna be forced to sell that team, just like the Washington Commanders, because they poorly mishandled Shedeur. And I want you to think about when Coach Prime came to visit, what Haslam said to Coach Prime. Well, let's just say Shedeur has a good game. But then what happened after that? So that means you can determine when it's going to be a good game, and you can determine when it won't. Washington Commanders were forced to sell that team for the same type of behavior, overpaying veterans like those white O-linemen who were dirt diving. Yeah, they got caught for that. Overpaying them, like gifting them money. Kind of like Arthur Blank did to Kirk Cousins, just gifting him money. All the while suppressing Michael Penix Jr. So they think, yes, Shedeur should go to Vegas. It said Panthers' last playoff appearance was in 2017. Oh, was Cam gone by then? Was Cam gone in 2017? Let's see. When did Cam Newton leave? Let me see. Who was the quarterback QB for Carolina for the Panthers in 2027? 2017, excuse me, 2017. Cam Newton. It said the primary quarterback for Carolina Panthers in 2017 was Cam Newton, who started all 16 regular season games, leading the team to a 11-5 record and a playoff appearance. Derek Anderson served as the backup. So, do you know how ugly the Carolina Panthers parted ways and kicked Cam out like he didn't do nothing for them? That's just crazy. It says, what do y'all think, Lamar or Tua? Tua to Baltimore and Lamar to Miami. Is that what you're saying? I don't know the NFL to move those big contracts like that. I'm trying to think about anybody else that had a huge contract. I mean, Stephon Diggs, but he's a receiver. Tua over there with Quinn Ewers, and I think Quinn Ewers got next up over there unless they trade him to Cleveland. And Shedeur go to Miami, but then Tua's still there. So who's gonna be QB1? Lamar. Some people say Minnesota. I don't know why everybody want to send somebody to Minnesota. I think Lamar might be right there in Baltimore. I just don't know who the head coach. Now, do you think the Ravens will include Lamar in the head coaching search like the Titans are supposedly expected to do with Cam? I think that should happen. I think Lamar should be instrumental in the quarterbacks. He earned that. 2 MVPs, they don't even value him like he got 2 MVPs. They just want to stop him from getting the third and going to the Super Bowl. And it's a shame for people to come out and say Harbaugh wasn't fired for underperforming, but because they wanted to kick out his offensive coordinator. We're going to have to keep an eye on Baltimore. See what kind of shenanigans they got going on. Flores or Antonio Pierce. I forgot about Antonio Pierce. Now, if they fired Antonio Pierce so he don't draft Shedeur, do you really think they would get Antonio Pierce in Cleveland? I don't think so. I don't think they would get him. I'm trying to think. Who else? I mean, they're trying to fire Todd Bowles. I don't think they're trying to hire no black head coaches. Trying to fire Todd Bowles, trying to fire Mike Tomlin, trying to fire Aaron Glenn. That's 3. Todd Bowles has 3 divisional chips. Mike Tomlin been to the Super Bowl twice, but they already knew what they wanted to do with him. Want to fire Todd Bowles, who already proved he could win. I don't think they're trying to hire no black head coaches. Marcus Freeman was the only one whose name came up, and he decided to go back to Notre Dame. Again, like the quarterbacks that are black. I'm going back to college. That must be some serious toxicity. They talked about Marcus Freeman being hired. That was the only black coach name came up. And he decided to go back to school. Says a lot. Says a lot. Says a lot. And Coach Prime, at first he was in a conversation, but they made sure to upend that. I don't think they're trying to hire no black coaches. I don't. I think they're gonna try to force Cam to get like Stfansky or somebody like that. And what does that say if I force Cam to get Stfansky, knowing Shedeur was his friend, knowing what the hell he just watched, and now it's coming for you? What do y'all think about that? Yeah. So Flores or Antonio Pierce, he wanted to draft 12, but the Raiders, however, said Tom Brady wanted Pete Carroll. They lying. They just blocked Shedeur. It said because the coach went and seen Orange, he divided the locker room. Karma, I agree. I totally agree. Yes, they are trying to they are trying to fire Todd Bowles. And if they don't get Aaron Glenn this year, they're going to get him next year. They're not trying to hire no more black coaches. There's a reason why Marcus Freeman took his behind back to NCAA. Denouncing your blackness don't help you. It really don't. You shouldn't even do nothing like that. Yeah, I don't even think they're really trying to hire Brian Flores. I think he is the Rooney Rule applicant, which is why everybody keep talking about it. And see, they already did that to him before. And I told you, they don't know when to quit. They don't know when to quit. They gonna be happy. 0 black offensive coordinators. It'll be down to who's the head coach in the Texans. The Texans and the Steelers and Aaron Glenn. It will just be 3. If they fire Todd Bowles, it will only be 3 black head coaches. Well, it was Raheem Morris, but then they added Aaron Glenn, so that's 5. So it got rid of Morris, trying to get rid of Bowles. That's 3. And they're going to try to get rid of Aaron Glenn next year. That's 2. And it's just the D'Amico Ryans and Mike Tomlin. 0 black, 0 offensive coordinators. Almost no black head coaches. And all of the coaches that were fired, 7 of 8 or 6 of 7, had black QB1s whose careers they want to disrupt. Shedeur, Lamar, Cam, Jacoby Brissett, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix Jr. The attack is in. These black quarterbacks on the attack. For sure. That's what it is. It said a lot of that revenue generated for CU probably went to the general athletics programs. So the other programs benefited, not just the football team. But is that correct? Is that right, though? How did you starve the football program because you gave somebody else money? No, it don't work like that. You can't say, oh, but isn't that what happened at Jackson State? The football team was making money and they kept coming to get it for general stuff. And see, it's happening at CU if that's the case. So I say it's to say the. And I want you to know that tight end dropping that ball was a part of I want y'all to leave here and take Travis over there. And that's what happened. Maybe there'll be a documentary about it one day. It said they're sharing the football revenue with the others. Yeah, well, you can't say, see, you don't have no money. Everybody knows the football team gets the biggest cut. There's a whole documentary on that. The football team gets the biggest cut because they make the most money. I mean, you could just sit down and open up the books. How much money does cross-country skiing make? I don't know. Do they have people at their matches? Do they have sponsors? So we know football makes the bulk of the money, so they should get the bulk of the money. And that was before revenue sharing. So that $300 million in TV deals that worked for the football program should have been for the football program. They only saying that because they gave Coach Prime that contract, which is why they want him to quit. We don't have the money to buy him out, so you're going to make his life a living hell. Oh, okay. Shame on him. Somebody said, hey, Gail, hopefully I'll come back soon. There's a lot of COVID going around. Really heavy. We've got so many cases in the lab. Uh-oh, I'm in. So everybody, please be careful. COVID is going around? Well, thank you for that. Hey, Stephen, how you doing? I had no idea COVID was going around. Racism is very expensive. Thank you, Ramon. And Haslam has not learned. It says 7 teams are looking for head coaches. What are they going to do to satisfy the Rooney Rule? Are they all going to interview Brian Flores to satisfy it? That's a good question. And have they decided that they don't want to participate in the Rooney Rule no more? Are they all going to, Antonio Pierce. And then the defensive coordinator from the Broncos. That's 3. How many interviews is it? 7. So I'm going to interview each of them twice. Yep. Brian Flores' name was already mentioned with the Browns, already mentioned with the Ravens. That's 2. The defensive coordinator from the Broncos is black. I don't know. I never heard his name again. He could go to 2 places. He could go to Arizona and Tennessee. I think I heard his name with Tennessee. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. That's a very, very good point. That's an excellent point. But there are 3 of them. Antonio Pierce will likely get an interview as well. That's a good one, Roger. It said, I believe Coach Prime is mentoring his good players to go on to another college so that they have better opportunities being drafted early after they drafted all the Yep. In round 5. I totally agree. And it's funny how after Shedeur got drafted, then everybody came through. So yeah, and that was so wrong. And again, I know the Panthers are, in the playoffs, but they have Jimmy Horn Jr. behind Ted McMillan. Now you know what that means, don't you? It's like they're not gonna be happy till Coach Prime is gone. That's what it's giving. Because they feel like if his players get the ball out, we want to go to CU. It's like they are trying to make sure he's not a head coach in the Power 5. That's just it. So the kids don't want to go there. So let's show he don't have no influence. And honestly, it wasn't working. They still sold out the 3rd season. So they had to lean and dig in. And CU in the Big 12 had to help run off the commits. And Pat Schumer had to help. And Livingston had to help. And considering they came from the NFL, they helped. Yeah. Sad. That's why I say screw this. I say throw his name in the hat in the NFL, but that ain't gonna happen. Since they talked, it was a photo online. Okay, good. I have to go find it because I didn't see it. Thank you for that, Bridget. I'm glad to know that. Lamar and Shadeur didn't talk because Shadeur was upset. LeJounte went over to talk to him. Okay, all right. I'm going to look and see if there's something out there. I do remember Shadeur going to sit on the bench and LeJounte came to talk to him. Remember after the Ravens game, Shadeur was sitting on the bench, beating himself up, and LeJounte sat on the bench next to him. He didn't get a chance to talk to Lamar. Okay, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you. I agree with you, Tina. I agree with Tina, too. Hey, Queen T, welcome back. It said Lamar will probably end up with the Dolphins. That has come up a couple of times. Why is it the Dolphins is the team that they see somebody could go to? Is Tua on? They're going to move him? Now, remember, Andrew Berry said he's going to get a veteran. You know what somebody said? Didn't you have 2 veterans last year? Why would you let 2 veterans go and go get another? That's a good question. He could have kept one of them. But you know what he did? He got his 2 picks back for Shedeur. I'm telling you, Shedeur being devalued was premeditated. It was premeditated. How do you already have your picks back for him? It's premeditated. It's premeditated. That wasn't an accident. And I don't know if they knew because he already had a rapport with Cleveland. That's why he wouldn't go to Philly or Baltimore, but that was a slap in the face. That was essentially saying, we're not letting you play. And because he chose, that's where things went left. Because apparently he had a choice. If he was an undrafted free agent, would he have had a choice? So he had a choice in the matter. And he chose the people that pursued him. And it wasn't supposed to go like that. I don't know where they thought he would have ended up. But Shedeur being devalued was premeditated. Because the conversation before the draft was to make Mike Tomlin draft him. So he was a QB2. And only 2 people were told what to do in the draft. And they both were black. Andrew Berry, they said he was going to get scammed out of his picks. And Mike Tomlin was told specifically to draft Shedeur and make him QB2 behind Aaron Rodgers so he would never get to play. So when you watch Stfansky rather lose than put Shedeur out there, that came from the draft. Because that's what it was supposed to be. Wherever he ended up, he was never supposed to get to QB1 until they got to the end of the season and he played the obligatory number of games. And the fact that Andrew Berry already got his 2 picks back before they got to half of the season being over with, it makes me think when the Falcons went and got Kirk Cousins in March, the same time, even though it's different years, I think, the same time that the Browns got Pickett, they already knew what they were going to do. Their strategy was Dylan, check down king, probably for 2 years, but they couldn't stand to lose for 2 more years. But let's see if they want to win with Shedeur after they robbed him of $40 million. But the Falcons did the same thing. Let me pay all of this money to Kirk Cousins. And then you can go ahead and draft Michael Penix Jr. That was to suppress Michael Penix Jr. and it worked. Just like in the draft, it worked to suppress Shedeur. Then we get to Cleveland, and then it's Stfansky, and it would have worked. But 20 million people popped up, and what did you hear Haslam say? The fans. If the fans matter. And he might want to lie to himself and just say the Browns fans, but if they went along with Deshaun Kaiser, going 0-16, they would have gone along with Shedeur being sitting on the bench, Dylan losing all them damn games. And they would have told them some lie about next year, like they told them the same lie last year, and it would have just been perfectly fine. If it wasn't for Shedeurians popping up, the aunties, the aunts, if it wasn't for Shedeur Sanders' fan base, they would have did what they have always done. That's facts. Pop B. What's that, Brian? It said, CU McPherson DB going to Penn State. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. I said that. And who's the tight end, Atkins? Did he go to the portal yet? I figure he going too. So they picked up McPherson at Penn State. Okay. It said, I'm happy for Chidozie. He can come back and play for an NFL team. So I don't think Shiloh should go to the CFL. Okay, Roger. Okay, I really want them to be done with it. But okay, I get it. It said Canada treats players really well. Shiloh could be a star there. Not sure this is the best time for him because of what his father's dealing with. I think Coach Prime is fine. Y'all don't think Coach Prime is fine? I think this is the best time because as he get older, it's not going to get no better. But I don't think he wants to do that. I think Shiloh is still holding out for the NFL, and I think he feels like if Shedeur gets the respect that he has earned, that he might get to go, right? I think if Coach Prime was not coaching, they might let him come back. They are trying to suppress the Sanders legacy, and I hope the Sanders, they probably know that. I hope they know. I hope they know, because that's what it is. It said Jalen Wester declared for the draft. What? Oh, is he out of eligibility? Did Juju get in the portal? No, not to my knowledge. I hope that CU gives Ponder a real shot. Me too. Is he still over there? I'm surprised he didn't get in the portal. I mean, honestly, he is good, though. I don't know. I'm assuming he's still at CU. DJ McKinney is still with CU. I thought DJ McKinney hopped into the portal. Am I wrong? Did DJ McKinney hop into the portal? I thought I saw an announcement. Why Colorado transfer portal decisions are most important? Best transfer portal fits for former Colorado running back, cornerback DJ McKinney. Yeah, he hopped into the portal. Yeah, DJ is in the portal, guys. Yep. Has he been picked up yet? DJ McKinney. It said on Thursday, the Buffaloes lost cornerback DJ McKinney to the portal. Though there was talk of the NFL draft, he now seems likely to return for another season with a more competitive program. Wow. Offensive lineman Corday Smith, edge rusher London Merritt, Alexander McPherson, and cornerback Noah King have already left the program. Their departures are part of a bigger trend of players looking for more playing time. So yeah, DJ is gone. He looking for a more competitive program. Losing McKinney will be big for Colorado since Sanders and his staff still haven't found a true lockdown cornerback. That gap has been there ever since two-way star and Heisman winner Travis Hunter left for the NFL. McKinney exit leaves a keyhole in the secondary that Colorado will need to quickly fill. All right, so yeah, he gone. Yeah, I thought I saw a announcement from him that he hopped into the portal. He played some song, but I don't know what the hell it was. It said, yeah, he's in the portal. Totally agree. I love the short where Shedeur believed in the kicker. Yes, I totally agree. Believed in the kicker and told him he was gonna get it. He promised. Yep. And that's one of the clips that I said Shedeur proved again that he's a leader. It's not just that Miles believed in him. He has exhibited leadership traits. But again, Shedeur pushed back away that leadership label. It said, nah, I just got to worry about myself. That's what he said. What y'all think about that? I mean, I can't blame him because look at how a lot of the people on offense treated him, right? They saying Harbaugh is 2.0 Stfansky. I agree. Harbaugh is not Stfansky 2.0. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is, Roger. Yes, he is. It said, I did hear that too, sis. But they said Shedeur didn't want to be QB2. Right. Right. But did he think he was going to be QB1 when he got to Cleveland? No. I think Shedeur didn't want to go, not just because he didn't want to be QB2, but because Lamar and Jalen ain't going nowhere. You see what I'm saying? Who was in Cleveland before Shedeur? They in New York or on the bench because injury. So he actually had a clearer shot to get to the front. And I said that. I said that multiple times. Shedeur actually has a clear shot to get to QB1 in Cleveland, but Stfansky. And it still happened. I want you to know all of your prayers were answered because the enemy was defeated in Cleveland. That's facts. They didn't want to fire him. They wanted to keep him. Remember, they came out and said, oh, Stfansky's job is safe. I remember Mary Kappas saying that. And here we are. And they're saying because he didn't do enough in areas that were controllable. I'm like, you didn't know that when y'all told Mary Kappas his job was safe? You didn't know that when Haslam said, Stfansky has done good work for us. They were forced to move off of him. Legal liability. That's why any team he goes to, they're going to be on the hot seat, especially if they got a black quarterback somewhere. It said Lamar was MVP twice. That's not suppression. That's false. Lamar was MVP twice. And what happened in the AFC game? What happened in the other contention game? That's suppression, boo. Whether they were suppressing him or not when it happened, or could they stop him? I have no idea. But ever since then, they've been trying to keep him in the pocket. They actually been trying to keep him in the pocket since he's been there. And that's why when he gets out, he get punished. So, yeah, that is suppression. It said Hollywood Brown is Antonio Brown, cousin that left the Ravens for the Cardinals some years back. Now he is with the Chiefs. Oh, I never heard about him. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. He's a wide receiver that has been around and has played on the Ravens, the Cardinals, the Chiefs, and other few teams. And it's funny, I never hear anything about him. I don't hear anything. Maybe he low-key or something. It said, Miss Nola, it said the YouTube visual is entitled The Financial Reason the NFL Needs Shedeur to Fail. Oh, really? Who made that? That's interesting. Who made that? It said Andrew Berry is going to make sure if they hired a coach, they are willing to work with Shedeur. If not, they will not be hired. I feel like this is deja vu. I feel like we had this exact conversation already. Then why is it Andrew Berry is non-committal on Shedeur Sanders, if that's the case? Let me know your thoughts. What about Pete Carroll? Is he one of them? I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think they ever expected him to be there that long. I think he was just a blocker myself. It said it's Jimmy Haslam's team and Berry is just a puppet. In my opinion, he doesn't have much input in the choosing in my opinion, this is just fake. It is a lot of fake happening. It said, I did hear in another chat that Harbaugh helped one of CU players and that the people were saying that would put him and Shedeur Sanders back together again. Oh, you're talking about LeJounte. LeJounte's, this is what's interesting. LeJounte got devalued in the draft. You know how LeJounte got to Baltimore? Remember he went to, is it FIU? I think his coach that was at FIU at the time, Willie Taggart, is who is a coach on the staff in Baltimore. That's who drafted LeJounte. His coach before he even got to Colorado. Because he went to Colorado, seemingly, he was being devalued. And that's why I think his cousin, or he got a cousin that's a wide receiver or something. I think that's why he went to a different school. It happened. They just didn't talk about it. It said Cam Newton says Stfansky is racist and that they have a problem with the black community. What? When did he say that? Cam Newton said that? When did he say that? That's interesting. Yeah, I need the link to that one. I'm going to have to go look at Cam's channel. Mike McCarthy said, allergy, he does not want to come to Cleveland if Shedeur is the QB. That's what I thought or I heard. Allegedly. Oh, okay. I haven't heard that. Mike McCarthy on Shedeur Sanders. Let's see. I haven't heard. Who the hell is he anyway? Is he the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Let's see. There's no direct quote on Mike McCarthy specifically about Shedeur Sanders. In the search results, the connection arises from potential futures with the Cleveland Browns after the 2025 NFL Draft, which sports analysts discussing McCarthy as a potential head coaching hire for the Browns to develop Sanders, who surprisingly fell to the 5th round, as discussed by figures like McCarthy on X, formerly Twitter and LinkedIn. No, I didn't really see anything. A journalist named Michael McCarthy commented on Sanders' fall and the drama around it, linking it to the broader NFL discourse around the Browns and potential coaching changes, suggesting McCarthy could fit the situation. I don't really see anything about them in Shedeur. I don't see anything, so I don't know. Unless that was just a person talking. I don't see any direct quotes, anything. I don't think people should be speaking on Shedeur like that. Matt Ryan is mentioned as the candidate for president of player operations for the Falcons. And guess what? That's going to open the door for Peyton Manning to be the president of player operations for the Cleveland Browns. Yep. It said they got 2 for 1 by firing the coach and GM to clean house for Ryan. Well, somebody got to be the head coach, though, huh? CP has coaches now on staff fired prior for kicking black kids at practice and schools known for racism. Who is that, Rise Academy? You got to let us know now and drop some receipts. Hit the like button when you come in. Thank you. Thank you so much. It said the Jets never have a good QB when they hire a black head coach. Ty Bowles and now Aaron Glenn. I could believe that. The Jets owner, you could see something with him is not right. I mean, you can't just say it, Rise Academy. You have to actually tell us what you're talking about, and you're going to have to produce some receipts, boo. It said Matt Ryan drafted by the Falcons and former league MVP that helped lead them to the Super Bowl. Right. And that's what's going to open the door for Peyton Manning in New York. And not New York, but in Cleveland. It said the Chiefs have been the best team in the AFC for the last 5 or 6 years. How was Lamar going to get to the Super Bowl? The Ravens did have a chance. If you wrong about that. You are absolutely wrong about that. Did you see the AFC game last year? Yeah, you wrong about that. And that Steelers game? No, that ain't right. It said Hollywood Brown is a wide receiver. Oh, yes, thank you. It said Harbaugh made sure that Flacco got a Super Bowl ring when he coached him. Harbaugh, Kevin, just so racist. It said 120 days they have to hire a coach. Okay, so it's going to be a while. 120 days per Haslam. So it's going to be a while. It said that NFL highlight of Shedeur is awesome. Any team should want him. I'm shocked that they put that together. Somebody said, y'all need to pay my man. Because y'all not put nobody else up here. And they didn't. I didn't see nobody else. I didn't see nobody else. Maybe I missed it. Let me know if you see it. I'll look again tonight. And his highlights are good too. That's why I'm like, this is weird. Maybe it says it wasn't personal. Maybe it says something, I don't know, but it's a message. It is definitely a message. And it's probably to clear them from being racist. That's probably what it is. It said Lamar is the Baltimore Ravens finest. I totally agree. Yes, Diego Pavia won, and he was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Shedeur was the only winner of the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm that wasn't a Heisman Trophy candidate. Yeah, because they robbed him like they robbed Lamar of his third MVP. Thank you, Ramon. Thank you so much. Bye, Zach Orr. So y'all think Zach Orr can move on from Baltimore? I told y'all they was going to come for him. I told y'all they was going to come for him. Hell, they could have moved Harbaugh out the way just to get to him. Because, the next coach going to want to get his own. That's what they said about the 6 quarterbacks that are on the staff. But if their contracts are likely guaranteed, except for Shedeur. So they could be bringing in another coach and try to use that to suppress Shedeur, and then they move on to the Manning kid, which is shameful because you can win with Shedeur and still go get the Manning kid and ship Shedeur to another team where he's franchised. That's what the league doesn't want to do. I don't believe the NFL wants to make Shedeur a franchise, which is why they out here putting out his highlights so you don't think that. Oh, we support him. He's just not good enough. Well, why would you put his highlights out here? So that says you should have made him and committed to him as a franchise quarterback. How you put his highlights out here, nobody else's? Just crazy. Thank you, Ramon. I appreciate it. All right, I guess we're going to start the wrap up. It says Ravens OC Todd Moniker is the first coaching candidate for Cleveland. They have sent a request to interview. Okay, and I hope it's a hard no. Monken, Monken. Remember, Haslam is a meddler. Haslam not just a meddler. He tell Barry what to do. I ain't just no meddler. He tells him what to do. He ain't nobody but Jerry Jones. He just don't want the title. He don't want the title. He don't want to do the work every day. He want to go live on his yacht. I'm sure he got one. And why Barry do the grunt work? I want this person and that person. I don't care what you think about that. You can pick that, but I want this. I want that. He wants to determine what the team looks like. That is why. And I don't know how you have this conversation. I don't know how you pivot from Shedeur to Dylan and put Shedeur all the way down at the bottom and get 2 white players and the rest of the players you got for cheap. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you frame that conversation. I don't want to pay Shedeur because he black, that kind of money. I don't want to pay Quishon. I don't want to pay Isaiah Bond. I don't want to pay Harold Fanning Jr. I don't want to pay Dylan Sampson. But go ahead and give Carson Swessinger a guaranteed contract. Go ahead and give instead of Shedeur, let's get Mason Graham. How do you do that? You can just look at who they signed and see where they spent the money, and they were white, and who they devalued that was black, including Shedeur. I believe it was premeditated. I think the devaluation was premeditated. I don't know how he got to Cleveland, and maybe he was supposed to go somewhere. I don't know. But Andrew Berry already got his 2 5th-round picks back for Shedeur before the season even got halfway through. We shall see. How many OCs did Lamar have? I don't know. 2? How long that guy been there? Haslam doesn't like bad publicity. It was said he messed up the Milwaukee Bucks. I read about that. It's that Shedeur is selling jerseys and ad space and has very low salary. He's shown he can win games. He's not going anywhere. That's what you would think. But if you think they're going to keep him to go ball out, we shall see. Because they could have did exactly what you just said last season in 2024, this past season. And did they do it? No. So you're right. But they didn't do it last in the rookie season. So why would they do it next year when I want to get somebody else year after that? They were safe for doing it this year, trading Shedeur or letting him ball out in year 2 and trading Shedeur. They don't seem to be interested in trading him. But they already know they don't want to be committed to him, but we don't want to trade him. That's giving draft remnants from the draft, which is why the NFL is out here putting out Shedeur's highlights. Oh, it's not us. Told you it was a message. All right. Yep, that's what it is. All right, y'all. We gone. Thank y'all for watching What She Said Sports. We'll be back tomorrow. It said Baltimore fans would burn it down. Tua needs to stay where he is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. Baltimore, they seem loyal. Baltimore fans seem loyal. Shout out to the Baltimore fans because I know they the reason that Harbaugh has been fired. Whether it was because they wanted to fire the OC and he said, I'm going to, whatever. They obviously applied pressure. Same thing with fans supporting Shedeur and the Browns fan base. The nemesis was defeated, right? Moved out the way. So we'll see who comes next. As members of the community said, they have 120 days to pick a head coach. So it'll be a while, I guess. I'm sure they'll drag it out for likes and clicks. So, all right, I'm going to see y'all later. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all tomorrow. If you notice, I still don't have my voice back, so I'm going to go get some rest. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports, hanging out with us today. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.